knowledge management governance, it has to be from an enterprise view. We have the material enterprise under AMC. We have the lead material integrator within AMC now, and so we need to look at it more holistically and make sure that that information and how we share it impacts correctly and to the lowest level possible. That's all I have.
Thanks, Charlotte. Can you hear me all right? I'm Craig Pacey. Currently I'm the Deputy Knowledge Management Officer for Forces Command. I work now for the Deputy Commanding General, General Bromberg. That's part of our transition lately at the Forces Command headquarters is moving from the G3 office and actually within the plans office of G3, and then moving to a position where we think we can affect more change and directly attribute that to efficiencies the Forces Command is going through with their BRAC move at this time. As the rest have said, I've gone through BRAC moves. That has been a challenge to a degree, but we look at that as something that is not enduring, certainly. What we have now is some communications problems, and that is one of our challenges that we see with as KM and our ability to collaborate with our units right now is our inability to go through SharePoint and train as we fight on that particular system. So yes, starting from the top down, we're looking at the enterprise architecture as being still one of the chief challenges we have going forward. One of the things we have, and Joe mentioned this, was the Warfighter Forum. I'll touch on that briefly only because it is an enabler to KM. As what has been mentioned already is that yes, KM takes many forms. At Forces Command, we've got a duplicity of effort there. One is the KM within the headquarters structure, and the other certainly is with the operational KM and the MTO and Corps and Division and BCTs, functional, multifunctional brigades. The Warfighter Forum has been a great test bed because in that we've been able to gain some lessons learned in regards to governance. As far as the governance goes, the Warfighter Forum, and this almost ties into a way ahead we'd like to see as well as a battle rhythm of events that where we collaborate information, knowledge, and come up with the best practice solution across the board. As a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, I've had the experience of mentoring many green belts and processes, and I've found that process is key, and we have to be able to come up with operational processes and soon, and that's part of the challenge for all of us up here certainly. And Forces Command is very much interested in that. Another thing that's come out of the Warfighter Forum is the development of several websites that tie and assist in that collaboration with the different with the COEs, with all the corps, and the ACOMs, and their ability to communicate solutions to problems that come up as a result of global war efforts that are ongoing. And we anticipate that going on into the FSO arena as well. But what we found through that is that, and sometimes when we try to come up with a solution to rectify in this situation, a sea of information and no way to get to it, we end up exacerbating it, and we got to get away from it. And part of that governance challenge is, quite frankly, to be able to neck down those knowledge centers that we can, as professionals, suggest that these are the ones that we should be, in the case of Forces Command, these are the ones that our Corps, Division, BCT commanders should be going to for the most accurate knowledge, and these are the systems they should be using. We're still rooting around trying to find those. As I said, part of our duplicity of Forces Command are those collaborative tools that we use for the headquarters. Going into the BRAC, we developed something called the Viper, which is essentially a repository for those who are currently in or were currently in position before we made the BRAC move, to be able to load up their PDs, all of the processes they use within their particular position, and be able to go forward and pass along to those that might be taking their place. Only 55% of those around that actually made the transition from Atlanta up to Fort Bragg. And then we took some hits, 15% across the board in personnel after that. But that was one collaborative tool. Another collaborative tool we're working with right now, something Tradeoffs is, as well as the task management tool, which, you know, it's been said that the SharePoint is KM. Well, I hate to say that anything particular is KM. And we found that in organizations that don't even have a named KM, they're still KM. It might be bad KM, it might be unorganized KM, and it can take the form of a general's initiative, it can take the form of the SGS, it can take the form of the G3, or we in the CAM arena can corral that entity and perform the efficiencies and provide those tools to make our at least our Forces Command entities more efficient. As far as SharePoint, we put a lot into that because a lot of our commanders, most of our commanders, certainly want to train us in fight. They all do. But SharePoint has to be used in that regard to be able to make that parameter, that metric. However, we found that we've had to go through AKO to be able to communicate to those reservists, those beyond the forest that we're using within Forces Command, and so we're developing even further websites. Again, from the Warfighter Forum, that's what we found that the challenge has been there. The way ahead that we're looking for is really to drive on processes. Like I said before, part of that is to ensure that our professional KMers recognize process. During the Joint Warfighter Conference a few months ago, several of those who spoke in regards to knowledge management in the field at US4 Alpha and MNCI, all different color suits and contractors, all said that one of the first steps they had to do as an operational knowledge management officer was to develop rapport, because, as we all know, knowledge management moves at the speed of trust. And it's interesting that that would be the case, and I'm thinking as they're saying this, how are we going to teach that course, how to develop rapport? So that seems a little nebulous to me, but that's what they all said. Establish that rapport. And the second thing is to have the understanding of processes so that they could look at, as was said by Mr. Coons, there's different headquarters that use knowledge management differently. And believe it or not, that really goes along with the divisions and the DCTs. Depends on the individual who needs that knowledge to make timely decisions. And so it's the job of that KM officer to be able to, when he first comes on board, he or she first comes on board, to be able to see what those processes are and have the tools to be able to go in and make those processes more efficient for the commander. Relevance, we have found within the Warfighters Forum arena, or our neighborhood within Forces Command and the other ACOMs, is something really that's prevalent with KM2. We have to be able to maintain that and be able to show the value of KM, so that there's no question as to the efficiencies that can be gained. We've had to with our command group brief on a cost benefit analysis and give them, bottom line, what we're saving you in dollars by the processes we've developed for you. And it goes a long way. Frankly, I think part of the way ahead for the CAM program at all levels is you have to know process, and you have to be able to put dollars where your processes are going, because we're heading in that direction across the area. I think that's the reality. That's all I have to say, Joe. Thanks a lot.
Let me give you a quick perspective of Tradeoffs, and I'll talk a little bit as quickly as I can in sound bites, but have a lot of stories to tell, which is a KM capability, actually. But when I took this job with General Dempsey, had just taken command at headquarters Tradeoff, he labeled the operating environment and knowledge management, two separate entities, as key enablers to success within his command for transformation. I work directly for the Chief of Staff, and we were a key element of efforts for him to change that command. The way he governed, if you will, and led the command in this transformation was he issued a campaign plan. It was frag ordered every week, and we, over time, you got to change things? That's okay.
If everyone could use the mic that you're using, the outlying audience would be able to hear.
This one here?
Mics or not. The one you were just speaking into.
I got it.
Yes, sir.
The way General Dempsey governed our command was he put it on a Tradeoff campaign plan, we issued a strategic plan, we issued implementation plans down to the MSOs and COEs, the major support organizations and centers of excellence, which really are the center of gravity. Those two subordinate elements, CAC, initial CG, initial military training, Army Sessions Command, are all, and the centers of excellence, 8 of those, are all the centers of gravity where knowledge gets transferred to the warfighter. So what he expected was those subordinate commanders to implement his strategy, knowledge management strategy, and he established a quarterly forum in which he had each of them come to a VTC or physically at Fort Monroe at that time. And what we did was discuss the challenges, we discussed the opportunities, we discussed the goodness of how we were influencing and providing the warfighter the knowledge he needed. At the same time, internally, we managed that process among the COEs and MSOs with a knowledge management council that Rose mentioned earlier. And the idea there was to be able to meet quarterly and exchange ideas among ourselves, both in best practices in process engineering, re-engineering, some of the tools, the technologies developed by some of the COEs, and one of the sessions this week, the Fire Center of Excellence will talk to some of those, as will the Sustainment Center of Excellence, where they've developed some capabilities, which we've given to the Army Enterprise. So AKO capabilities. So these are the kinds of collaborative efforts that have established within the governing framework. Have we moved as fast as I think I would have liked us to move? No, but we are making progress, steady progress. And again, I think this is, as mentioned earlier, this is an enterprise challenge to transform. It's an enterprise challenge to adjust cultures. It's an enterprise challenge to change processes. And it has to start at the department, and we continue to work that with the Office of Business Transformation and the CMO's office. That's a quick summary of the Tradeoff efforts. Again, the key to success is transparency, collaboration, and cooperation among the centers, and then in support of the warfighter. What I'd like to do is open it up to the floor with some ideas and questions to the panel members. And I've started to make note of some points which I think we should all walk away with when you go back to your organizations, and what I'd like you to think about, so you can assist us as we move forward in institutionalizing some of this goodness that has occurred among the ACOMs that are represented here, as well as some of the supporting organizations, which I haven't mentioned, and there are a lot of them. Other questions from the floor?